times. We are fed up, completely fed up, with the numbers of stories, material on homosexuality that come over that TV every day. I watch less and less TV all the time. David and Craig, you say you're not trying to force your opinion on us. You most certainly are. And you quote the numbers of homosexuals in the country. There are just as many numbers of death row criminals and child abusers. Are we to look at their side of the story, too?
I see their side of the story a lot on television, and we're not forcing anything on you. You have that option of turning the channel. It's ironic you say that we're sick of seeing issues of homosexuality daily on television. I've yet to see any this week at all. As far as murderers, child molesters, I see movie of the weeks profiling them, you know, why they turned out the way they did, what caused them to do this.
If the homosexuality is 10% of the society and a factor in the society, why isn't it included, David, in other soaps?
Because, frankly, the entertainment industry is afraid to tackle these issues. Why, I do not know.
Well, no,
and that's sad. That's very sad.
It's partly that they're afraid to tackle the issues. It's also because there are already groups that object every time a gay character appears on television.
Well, that's right. Groups like yours boycott products.
Hollywood is an equal opportunity pool of cesspool degenerates who put this stuff on the air.
No,
and they do it, Larry. They do it oftentimes. They don't even make enough money out of it. They did this on 30-something recently. They lost $1.5 million in advertising.
Yeah, because most people like you, Mr. Donaldson, boycotted their products.
Most people did not find it morally offensive. A few small organizations managed to scare a few advertisers, and they pulled back their advertising. But we don't know whether the majority of people found it offensive or not.
You wouldn't want the majority rule, where then we'd never have a minority opinion, Bill. That would be terrible. Then
no, I certainly don't want that. I think what we're talking about here is, are we going to... Listen, sir, are we going to push the cultural ordinance of a free society to the point where the moral consensus begins to disintegrate? This is what I'm concerned about. Promiscuity in our society exists with regard to money, with regard to drugs, with regard to sex. And it's all tied into a notion where we lift the cultural lid on the libido. We've seen illegitimacy, herpes, and AIDS as a result of this kind of promiscuity. It's not just in the homosexual community.
All of which, right, affect a certain portion of the gay community and also a certain portion of the straight community.
A lot of them in the straight community.
So the issue is not having a gay soap opera. The issue is other issues.
Belleville, Illinois, hello.
I'd just like to say to Mr. Gadberry, right on, and it's about time something like this got on the air. Well, and I'd like to ask Professor Donahue, as a man who has been in a relationship with another man for the past 3 years, why he insists on labeling gay people in the same genre with degenerates like child abusers and pedophiles.
But my concern here is with the promiscuity, as I say, which is rampant and very well documented by the homosexual social scientists in the first place.
Why don't you answer the caller's question? He has recognized the unfairness of constantly saying homosexuals along with degenerates and all these other things that we recognize too are bad. Why do you do that, and what basis do you have for it?
Let me tell you, sir, there are responsible people in the gay community. I only wish that they would eclipse the people who are so irresponsible, like the ones who paint swastikas on the Pope and go before the St. Patrick's Cathedral. That's what I'm concerned about.
If you knew more about the gay community...
I don't want to know much more than what I know. I read about it.
I know you don't want to know the information, but if you knew more about the community, something you could learn by watching Mr. Gadberry's soap opera, you would see that those bad people are a very small portion of our community.
I watched 5 minutes of it. That was enough to make me almost throw up.
Because you are afraid of the truth.
Afraid of truth?
Like religious zealots for the last centuries, you are just simply afraid of the truth.
Beverly Hills, California. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Larry.
Hi.
Your professor says that Hollywood's full of the cesspool. I take exception to those kind of remarks. In fact, I resent it. I'm a producer, and I think that he's way off track. As far as a homosexual basis for a show, soaps had a very high R rating on television, for crying out loud. They had a homosexual character, but it didn't intimidate everybody because it was one isolated character. Let's put the show on the air. Let's let the public decide if they want it or not. Now, if it was a homosexual show and it showed degradation and it showed demeaning scenes and the scripts were lousy, people are going to turn it off anyway. But when he says that Hollywood's full of as a cesspool, he's wrong, Larry.
Bill, doesn't the marketplace determine things? Aren't you a capitalist? Don't you think that?
I certainly do believe in the marketplace.
So people are not going to probably watch Secret Passions.
Larry, I do believe that all communities have shared norms and shared values. And what we're talking about here is breaking down the parameters of the cultural ordinance so that we have all kinds of deviance comes into the center of the culture. What is at stake in our society here is well, you obviously don't feel that way, but I do, and most of the people in this country do.
Mr. Donahue, I have a question.
I
have a question for Mr. Donahue.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Mr. Donahue. You profess to be so concerned about the morality of America.
That's right.
I don't see you campaigning against Friday the 13th. I don't see you campaigning against...
I'm against the Chainsaw Massacre.
I don't see you so headstrong as you are with this issue.
Well, maybe Larry will have me back on to talk about Parents. You know about the movie Parents, where they chop people up into like a meat grinder, or the men who run around with fluorescent condoms and some of these other movies? I think all of it is disgusting when it goes to that
I don't see you campaigning against that. All I see is a bigoted person.
Well, you never met me.
I'm watching you and listening to you, and I've read about you, and I read about your KKK organization, the Heritage Foundation.
What is he talking about?
The Heritage Foundation.
Oh, here we go with the name calling. You know what? Every time you guys run out of intellectual gas, and you can't defeat someone like me in an argument.
I don't know.
Here we come.
I don't know about your KKK
stuff. The homo fascists, here they come.
You accuse us of name calling.
Well, you accuse us of being perverts and child molesters.
Real double standard.
Is that a double standard?
Hold on, guys. Hold on. All right. We're going to have 5 more minutes on this and take some more phone calls. The gay soap opera called Secret Passions airs on public access. We're going to pause and come back, and then in a couple of minutes we're going to meet the lovely, very talented Academy Award nominee Julia Roberts. And tomorrow night, Tom Brokaw. This is Larry King live in Washington. Don't go away. David, before we take another call, are there any heterosexuals in Secret Passions?
Actors or characters?
I mean, no. Characters.
40% of the characters are heterosexuals.
40%?
Right.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, hello.
Yes, you know, considering the freedom, Larry, this is to Mr. Donahue, and I'm not gay, but in Tulsa we have 25 cable stations. 3 are religious full-time. What seems to be the problem with airing a different point of view? I mean, we all have got to live here, and we all got to make the best of it.
Well, that's like saying that because we have shows like The Cosby Show, therefore we would have a show on the Ku Klux Klan. I don't buy that argument whatsoever. We're talking about those shows which are at the center of the culture and those shows which go beyond the norms of decency. Here, evidently, you have a difficult time understanding the difference between a decent show and an indecent one.
But his point is that there are 25 channels and it's indecent. Most people aren't going to watch it, right?
Larry,
so what do you care?
I do care because we don't live in an island. We do live in a society where people interact. The fact of the matter is we have on public access TV right now shows which have shown in the past nothing but the beating to death of a dog. This is just how sick some of the people have become in public access TV. Now, I live in a society where there's water pollution and air pollution. We are now living in a society where there's also moral pollution. And unless we begin to check this problem, I think we'll all just
Mr. Donahue,
Mr. Donahue, you're going to play dictatorship to everybody in the country?
What is homophobia and prejudice and ignorance, not homosexuality.
Stanton, Virginia, hello.
Hello.
Hi, you're on. Go ahead.
Okay, congratulations to Professor Donahue for speaking out on moral pollution. How can the gay community justify the homosexual state as being normal? If the homosexual state were a normal state, society would cease to exist after a while.
Well, did they say tonight that it is normal? Caller?
Well, he tried to make the argument.
I believe both individuals represent...
Well, it is normal. It is normal. It is naturally occurring in every society, not just in this one, but in, you know, China and Mozambique.
Yeah, but away from that,
and
supposing
so
it were abnormal, it still could be allowed. I mean, the First Amendment doesn't say except abnormal.
The question is, are we going to make a cultural celebration about it? Look, vomiting and diarrhea are normal. I don't want to see a cultural exhibition of it.
Look,
That's the real question
once
here,
again,
right?
you know, diarrhea and homosexuality. The point is, this is not a cultural celebration. It is presenting the facts about 10% of the American population. And I have to congratulate David for having the courage to create a show which is showing gay and lesbian people, by the way, in, you know, in their variety. And if the truth offends you, I'm sorry, but I resent you talking about your moral standards and inflicting them on me.
Can I add on to this?
You know,
yes, go ahead, David.
Can I add on to this? This project began a year and a half ago as a gift of love to an individual. We're promoting understanding, love. And then people like Mr. Donahue and his organization are promoting hatred. They're promoting bigotry. They're attacking the First Amendment. This isn't an issue of a gay soap opera. This is an issue of the First Amendment. And Mr. Donahue, let me conclude. Mr. Donahue is saying that it's time that somebody stands up and cleans up the morality of America. Is he going to be that person? Is he going to come into each and every single person's bedroom and say, you can't do that because I think it's wrong?
No,
That's sick.
No,
That's
no,
wrong.
I'm going to come on. No, but I am going to come on shows like this and tell you that you are wrong. And let me tell you. Let me address this question. First of all, I speak.
What is he wrong about? What is he wrong about?
Free speech here. Look, I am all in favor of gays being protected from being harassed, intimidated, the kind of violence against them. I deplore that. What we're talking about here is thrusting homosexuality and its promiscuity, because I have seen the show, and the anti-religious sentiments that are undertones of the show. This is what I object to.
Now you're saying you saw the whole show.
Look, it doesn't
Make
take
up your
a whole...
mind. You saw.
First of all,
you're seeing isolated
guys,
clips.
we can't keep interrupting. I appreciate all this. We're going to do more on it. I thank you very much for coming. We've run out of time. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, guys. The program is called Secret Passions, and we'll be back with many Americans' secret